Hi, welcome back to Mama Z's Texas Kitchen. So I wanted to talk today a little bit about dyslexia. I was having a conversation with Mandy from Royal Amethyst last night about the fact that I am dyslexic. I was feeling a little bummed about I had put out a video about my snack attack video, that in the video I had left out the I in holiday. I was tired and I was trying to get the video out, and a lot of times my brain is already moved to the next thing that I was typing out, and most of the time Mr. Keith edits everything, but he was not feeling well. He deals with health issues, and so I was rushing it, and once you post a video on YouTube, unless you take the video down, you can't go back and edit it. So I had one of two choices. I could just leave it up there, and because I'd already blasted it all over Facebook, putting the challenge out, or I could take it down and lose the views I'd already had on it and just kind of be embarrassed and go with it. So I made the agonizing choice of just leaving it. And so she and I were Marco Poloing last night, and I told her, I said, I really am dyslexic, and I said, maybe one of these days I'll do a video about and talk about it. And she said, you've totally got to do that, Misty. And she said, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to it. So I thought, why not? So here's the truth. I am dyslexic. I got diagnosed as a small child. And when I was diagnosed back in the 70s, dyslexia was kind of in the infancy of understanding of it. And the truth is, now it's understood a whole lot more than it was than when I was a child. And here's the simple truth about dyslexia. It is not an intelligence issue. It is not a learning disability in the sense of it's not something that you can learn your way around. It's more of a visual thing. I had somebody here a while back, because my daughter's also dyslexic, that can she learn learn to spell better? And I said, that's kind of like telling a blind person they need to learn how to see. It is more of an optical issue more than a learned behavior. They're starting to call it more of a learning difference versus a learning disability. And I like that a whole lot better than I ever liked a learning disability. When I was in school, they stuck me in special ed, which I never belonged in, because the truth is most dyslexics have an above average IQ. Some examples of people with disability: Tom Cruise, Steven Spielberg, Einstein, and the list, Henry Winkler. And usually people with dyslexia are extremely creative, and if you took a poll, I would say there are a lot of creators on YouTube that are dyslexic. That's why we're there, because we tend to be very creative people. And again, it has absolutely nothing to do with intelligence. So if you are on my channel very long, you will probably see me stumble over words, and you will see me use the wrong words for things. Here a while back, I said something about salt, and I used the word iodine instead of ionized for talking about table salt. Usually it's because my brain, like I said, is going 90 miles an hour, and my brain will insert the wrong word because it's going too fast. When I'm tired, it's even worse. I worked for a routing company one time that I had to 10 key in numbers that were about this long. It would never fail. I would get the 2 middle numbers backwards. It was infuriating. I would have to sit and re-enter those numbers. I was a beast at putting those numbers in. I could do it really fast, except I would get the middle 2 numbers backwards. And I would have to go back and put those numbers in over and over and over again. So I wanted to address what dyslexia really was. You know how when you talk about the human brain, and when they talk about how the right brain operates the left side of the body and the left brain works the right side of the body, with the dyslexic, it usually is just like this. It's the right works the right and the left works the left. And that's why things will get mixed up. It's not just a reading thing. It affects your speech. It affects hand-eye coordination. It can affect a lot of very different things. So if you have a child that has trouble with their speech, it can affect hand-eye coordination, the way they talk, the way they walk, the way they can just basic motor skills. Have them tested for dyslexia. And it can be very hard in the public school system to get them tested. A lot of schools don't want to do it because it costs the school more money to put them in dyslexia intervention courses. But there are programs in the schools. I had to fight like crazy to get my daughter tested. I started saying in kindergarten, my daughter's dyslexic. I know this because I am. My daughter's dyslexic. I know she is because I am. And they kept saying, stop putting your issues on your daughter. I don't think a lot of kids write their A's and B's and C's and D's backwards. It's at this age. We don't think she's dyslexic. You're just trying to put your stuff off on your daughter. We paid over $5,000 to a private diagnostician to get my daughter tested, took the paperwork to the school. They still would not accept it because they did not want to put my daughter, they would rather put her in special education than put her in dyslexia intervention. It was not until she was in the 4th grade where there was a dyslexia trained special education teacher that said, this child does not have a learning disability. She is dyslexic. Finally, they took notice, tested her. You're right, she's dyslexic. Took her out of special education, 504'd her, put her in the dyslexia intervention program. She excelled. My daughter graduated with honors. So parents, if your child is in public school, fight for your children, because they don't necessarily need to be in special education. It's not a learning disability, it's a learning difference. Like I said, Albert Einstein, President George W. Bush is dyslexic. You know, there was a lot of he got made fun of constantly because of the funny things he said while he was president, because he's dyslexic. We say stupid crap all the time because words just come out funny. If you subscribe to my channel long enough, watch enough of my videos, silly crap's going to come out of my mouth just because it's part of the deal. But and it's hard, it's challenging because people think it's an intelligence issue and it's really not. When I was tested as a child, they told my parents, no, she's above average intelligence. There is absolutely nothing wrong with her intelligence. And it was frustrating for my parents because I would have teachers think, well, she's faking it. And, you know, they couldn't understand why I would do so poorly in school on my testing scores and on classwork, and I would get very fatigued trying to do regular classwork, trying to read it out of the book, and my reading was so difficult, and reading out loud was brutal for me. Because I could read just fine in my head. You know, I could read it on the page and read it in the book and read it to myself just fine, but trying to read from the book and then read it out loud was absolutely miserable for me. And all of the teachers wanted you to read out loud, and I would just burst into tears, and I just beg them, please don't make me read out loud. And because it made me look stupid. I still don't like reading out loud. Or reading from a script. When I do YouTube videos, very seldom will I ever write anything down. I may have an idea in my head what I want to talk about, just like this. I'll go research what I want to say, but very seldom do I ever actually write anything down. Excuse me, because I'll just stumble over it, and it'll just look unpolished. I know what I'm going to talk about, and I'll just sit down in front of the camera and start talking. So anyway, that's my little spiel on dyslexia. If it's something you want me to talk more about, I'd be happy to do so. In fact, I have a friend that I can interview and bring in that she works with the school system on dyslexia. I'd be happy to give her a call and see if she would want to do an interview with us. So anyway, go check out Mandy's channel. I'll link it here at the end of the video. Thank you for encouraging me to do this video. And if you go watch the snack attack that I left the I out of the holiday, forgive me. And please, if y'all want to do that collaboration, I would love to have you. God bless. Thanks for putting up with my dyslexia. Love you guys.